Hi guys! So William and I love watching movies, especially together. And I was trying to brainstorm new ideas for vlogs to show you guys, and I came up with this new vlog series called
Movie Month in Review.
We're going to talk about all the movies we watched the last month and give you a brief, spoiler-free review of each of them.
These are new and old movies. Some are watched at home and some are watched in the theater.
Yeah. So I have my handy-dandy journal here where we keep track of everything we did every day. And on January 1st, we actually went and saw a double feature. And the first movie we saw of the year was Bumblebee, which is a prequel to the Transformers series. Honestly, not a big fan of the Transformers series. I've only seen the first one, to be fair, but I don't know, it just seems like a lot of explosions. I don't know if I really care about it. So I wasn't really prepared to really like this movie. But I did. I really liked Bumblebee. I thought it was very charming and endearing. It reminded me a lot of E.T. And I don't know whether it's because it was set in the 1980s,
I can see that because
but
the car was always saying E.T. phone home, E.T. phone home.
I thought it was very good. You had a strong female character there. And yeah, I really enjoyed it. So overall, I would rate it a 7 out of 10. And I would definitely see it again.
No, yeah, I enjoyed it. I thought it was a fun movie. I'd give it an 8 out of 10. It's not a favorite movie, but it was just a fun theater movie.
Yeah.
And then on the same day, New Year's Day, was it?
Yeah.
The second movie we saw was Mary Poppins Returns.
Mm-hmm.
Which was frankly disappointing, being that I was told in advance that it was a sequel to the much-lauded Batman Returns. It was so bright.
Too colorful. There was supposed to be white, black, and gray.
The singing.
The singing?
The zoo scene. What a waste. Yeah, Mary Poppins was fun. Again, it's hard to stand up to the original.
Oh,
but,
yeah, for sure.
You know, that's impossible. But
Yeah.
I guess it was a brave attempt, and it was good, but I guess I'd give it a 7.5 out of 10.
Ooh. I agree. I think that, of course, the original is much better. The songs, for me, weren't as catchy, but granted, with Mary Poppins, it's been around for, 60 plus years, that movie? So there's been some time for all of us to get supercalifragilisticexpialidocious stuck in our heads, whereas the cover is not the book, or what was it? Light the Thing Fantastic. I don't really.
Trip the Light Fantastic?
Trip the Light Fantastic. I'm not really humming that on the way home because it's the first time I've heard it. I did like that there was the classic animation integrated into the film, that they didn't try and make the animals look too CGI or something. I think that Emily Blunt captured Mary Poppins' spirit pretty well. There were some times where she was a little bit more snarky than I think Mary Poppins should have been, but overall she did a great job. And I would give it an 8 out of 10. That'll be a definite own in our house.
What?
Yes, I think so. I think we should purchase.
Penguin's not even there.
He doesn't mean the dancing penguins that serve Mary Poppins and Bert. He means the penguin. The third movie, I'm not really sure if you remember us watching this.
I do.
Oh, you do? Okay. Because we sort of watched it in the background. It's a movie that is from my childhood that I was sharing with him. And it's We're Back. And it is a Steven Spielberg movie about dinosaurs that are given some brain grain to become smart, and they come to New York City in the present day of the 1990s to delight the children at the Museum of Natural History. And it's a short film, but it's very good. Now as an adult, I'm like, oh, I recognize that voice and I recognize that voice. It's a very strange film. It's a very dark film, but I've always enjoyed it, and especially the song Roll Back the Rock, you know. My lens is colored by nostalgia, so I would honestly give it a 6 out of 10.
I had not seen it before. I was somewhat familiar with it, but it wasn't on our radar as a kid. I guess, yeah, I don't have the nostalgia glasses for it, but it was still alright. I guess I'd give it a 6.5 out of 10.
Oh, you gave it a higher rating than me.
It wasn't bad.
It was just it's okay. It's an okay movie. It's enjoyable. You can pass the time, and you don't feel like you wasted the time watching the movie. So there you go.
So short. The next movie we watched in January was American Made, starring Tom Cruise. Was the story of a pilot who gets mixed up in the South American CIA drug running escapades of the 1980s. I usually enjoy most Tom Cruise movies. He's still got the knack for it. On a scale of 1 to 10, I would give it a 7. It was definitely worth the watch.
Yeah, I agree. We were looking, it was just a random night, and we were looking for a movie that we wouldn't usually watch, and he wanted something that was kind of action-based. And
a Tom Cruise movie.
A Tom Cruise movie. But it just seems like truth is stranger than fiction, because you will not believe the things that happen in this movie and during his story. I thought the presentation of the story is done very well, of Tom Cruise's character basically talking to a camera and telling his story and then going to the actual moment that is happening that he's describing. I thought it was very, very good. And I would also give it a 7. I'm gonna do my first half. I'm gonna give it a 7.5 out of 10. And the next movie we saw was Rumble in the Bronx. I am a fan of Jackie Chan, but I've actually never seen a Jackie Chan movie. I'm more familiar with the Jackie Chan Adventures, the animated series. So this was my first official Jackie Chan movie to see, and it was so good. I really, really liked this film, and he is just amazing. I cannot believe the stunts that he is able to do. Like, it's just crazy. And so I was like, I want to see more. I want to see more of Jackie Chan and his crazy escapades. I like that Jackie was like this everyman. Like, he's just visiting his uncle in the States, and he's going to break up some gangs in the Bronx. So I would give this movie a 9 out of 10. I really, really, really enjoyed it.
Yeah, I grew up a Jackie Chan fan, so I had seen Rumble in the Bronx many times prior to this January, but still a favorite, one of the early exposures I had to him. Still, probably one of his, top 3 for the classic Chan. It's a great movie. It's just got a lot of fun, action to it, and a relatively cheap budget by today's standards.
Yeah, which is amazing.
I would give Rumble in the Bronx 9 out of 10 as well. It's a fun watch and definitely worth a rewatch. The next movie we watched in January was Tombstone, which neither of us had seen, surprisingly, but I'll still be your huckleberry. I'll be your I'll still be your huckleberry. Phenomenal cast, like Val Kilmer in particular was just great.
Yeah, so good.
One of the better modern or 90s modern westerns that is out there to watch. But no, it's a great one, just great character acting in it.
Yeah.
And just a solid flick overall. But yeah, that one I would give a 8.5 out of 10. It was very solid.
Yeah. I really liked it too. It's Val Kilmer at his prime. I think that was his best acting years was in the 90s. I actually knew about this movie because growing up, I had a friend who was really into westerns, and he said that Tombstone was his favorite western. Like any friend would, I didn't watch it for many, many years until this year.
Oh yeah, I'll show you. I'll never watch it.
I'll never watch it. It's one of those things you say to a friend, like, oh yeah, I should, yeah, I'll definitely watch that. Yeah, that's a good recommendation. And years later. But anyway, finally got around to it, and it was very, very good. It tells the tale of 3 brothers who, were on the good side of the law, and they just want to now be at rest and make their money and everything, and now they're being dragged back into keeping the law in the town of Tombstone, and it was a very epic film. I would give it an 8 out of 10. So the next movie we saw in theaters, and it was the brand new Aquaman.
Oh, technically the next movie we saw in theaters for the third time was A Dog's Way Home.
We did not see that movie in theaters.
The epic 2-minute tale of a dog that gets lost and finds his way home before the trailer is over.
We did actually see Aquaman in theaters, and it's the newest in the DC cinematic universe. And I was surprised because the last couple movies that I've seen in that series have been kind of duds for me. The Batman vs. Superman was okay, kind of long, and Justice League, I don't know, I'm sick of, and we've talked about this before, I'm sick of the superheroes versus gods. Like, it's just like this unbelievable task. I'd rather just see like two equal parties fighting, where it's like, okay, well, they beat a god, so basically they can beat anybody. And why is it such a struggle? It's like I don't know. It's a paradox of like, well, if once they beat a god, then why is the Joker such a formidable, villain? Aquaman, it's basically the Lion King underwater, but I really enjoyed it. The CGI was pretty good. It's difficult to make actors look like they're floating and make it look realistic, and I think they did that pretty well. I would give it 5.5 out of 10.
Yeah, again, another kind of a one-watch fun movie. Not as cheesy as some of the other superhero movies, but they brought a lighter feel to it than some of the previous DC movies. A lot of action and a little bit of the tongue-in-cheek humor. Yeah, I'd give it a 6.5 out of 10. The next movie we watched was The Magnificent Seven, this being the the remake that was done a couple of years ago with Ethan Hawke and Chris Pratt. Pratt.
Yeah, Chris Pratt, that's his name.
So many Chris's.
I know, there's a lot of Chris's to keep track of.
Magnificent Seven was another one of those ensemble movies. Casting was pretty solid, and character chemistry was on point. Again, just some a little bit of cheesiness to it, where it started off strong and then kind of, I feel, fizzled out towards the end. Magnificent Seven would not get a 7. I think I would give it a 5.
Really? Oh, wow. I really enjoyed Magnificent Seven. I have no previous experience with the series, have not watched the original or the TV show at all, but I really enjoyed the movie. I really enjoyed the ensemble cast. I don't know, I'm having a hard time deciding whether I like Tombstone or Magnificent Seven better. Like I said, I'm not a big fan of Westerns, but this was like one of those moments where I was like, this is kind of gritty, and I kind of like this. It was like impossible odds, and they're defending this little town and everything.
That's all Westerns.
Oh wait, I'm sensing a pattern. I think I would give it a 7 out of 10. I think it was that good. I would see it again. I think I would. I'm interested to see the original, though, to sort of compare and contrast with it. So maybe that'll be a movie that we see in the future.
Or a TV show.
Or a TV show. Yeah, sure. So the next couple movies were a double feature, so I'm just going to combine my review together. I was on the Jackie Chan train, and so I wanted more. And so we watched Super Cop and Operation Condor. America was being introduced to Jackie Chan through these movies, so they were being repackaged for the States as standalones rather than as a series. So this Super Cop movie was actually like number 2 or 3 or 4, I don't know where it falls in there, but they just called it Super Cop, even though there were others in this series.
I think that's true, but I'm not sure.
I don't know.
I think it was part of the Police Story series.
So, Super Cop told the story of Jackie Chan going undercover. He's from Hong Kong, but he goes undercover in China.
Mainland China. It's pre-unification.
Yes. So, seeking out this large drug cartel and catching them and everything. But his stunts were still really great. There's one stunt in particular that I can't believe he did. There's just, I would not be brave enough to do it. And I don't want to say because it's a spoiler. I didn't like it as much as Rumble in the Bronx, but it was still very, very good. And then Operation Condor is sort of how you described his Indiana Jones type series, where he's a treasure hunter. Of course, the Nazis are involved, and he's looking for this gold that the Nazis had stolen and had hidden away and everything. I'm not going to tell you whether he finds it or not. You'll have to watch it to see. For both Operation Condor and Super Cop, I'm going to give both of them 6 out of 10.
Super Cop, yeah, another, 90s Jackie Chan box office smash. Another 90s classic Jackie Chan. Yeah, it's a fun one. Again, it's hard to stand up to Rumble in the Bronx. Some of the hand stunts are better, but it's more fun seeing him do stunts with everyday things. You could almost call it like a team up or a buddy action movie. Then I'd give Super Cop probably a 8. Operation Condor is a little bit more silly than Super Cop, kind of sliding into his early 2000s more comedic action phase, which those are fun times too. Operation Condor I'd give 8 out of 10 too as well. I'm a sucker for Jackie Chan.
Yeah, he's a cool guy.
The next duo of films we saw was Split in preparation for the spoiler alert sequel Glass.
If you don't know by now.
Split was definitely like a character study. The film was definitely carried on the shoulders of James McAvoy, who did a great job playing multiple characters. A fun guy to watch.
Even though he's a serial killer.
But I would give it 6 out of 10, because only 6 of his personalities were fun and the rest of them were jerks. After watching Split, we went and saw Glass in theaters. Glass was a novel approach at the superhero and supervillain origin story, kind of like how did you get from no superheroes and no supervillains to the Marvel Comics or DC standard universes. Mm-hmm. It was close. I think it would have made for a better TV show because it just needed a little more pacing. Scale of 1 to 10, I would give Glass 7. I still think Unbreakable is my favorite of the trilogy.
Yeah, this was my second time watching Split because he had never seen it before. I saw it in the theater with my friend Abby and my sister Autumn. I think what sort of ruined Split for me was knowing that it was part of a trilogy. I feel like Split is one of those movies that you can only watch once and then you know all the secrets and then you don't want to watch it anymore. The first time I watched Split, I kept thinking like, is this guy really for real? Knowing the ending of the film without spoiling it, there's less suspense during the entire film because you know the ending. I feel like James McAvoy's acting, once again, like you said, carried the film. So Split, I would give it a 6 out of 10. Glass, we saw it in the theaters and I didn't like it as much as Split. Like you said, pacing was definitely off. There were scenes that were way too drawn out where I'm just like, okay, I guess we're gonna get into like a psychological debate here. And then other scenes, like the main climax of the film is so short-lived that it was kind of like a disappointing letdown. I would give Glass a 5 out of 10. It was just kind of disappointing. And then the next one was a Redbox rental of Ant-Man and Wasp, which is the sequel to Ant-Man. I thought it was a pretty good Marvel movie. I kind of like the world of like things shrinking and growing and the physics of all things. I don't know about whenever they go molecular though. That seems a little bit weird. The science seems a little bit off on that. It's a superhero movie though, so at the end of the day it's like, okay, Lauren, get over yourself. I thought it was a very interesting movie, and like most superhero movies, I saw it. I enjoyed it. I don't need to see it again. I would rate it a 7 out of 10.
Ant-Man and Wasp. Again, it's a fun one. Paul Rudd definitely brings some lightness to the Marvel universe. It was good, but yeah, again, I don't want to learn anything in a movie. Like science rules. Quantum realm or wherever they were.
Yeah.
I wish it was just Ant-Man and Wasp shrinking and growing, fighting people. So I think part of the problem is most superheroes belong in the 1960s, the 1950s, and 40s.
Yeah.
Like, when a guy who could grow or shrink, would just be fighting, organized crime or a common bank robber. Because where do you go from here once,
An Infinity War. That's where. But that was the thing too, is I was like, okay, how are they doing an Ant-Man and Wasp movie after Infinity War? And it, the after credits scene sort of explains how it fits in there. So now we're geared up for Endgame. Is that what it's called? The new Marvel movie. Avengers Endgame, I think it's called.
It's over.
It's over.
I would give it a 7.5 out of 10. The next movie that we watched at home was Unico, or The Fantastic Adventures of Unico.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That was kind of a childhood staple of mine. I hadn't seen it 25 years probably. I think it was something that was taped off of television during like a free cable weekend or something, and we just watched it over and over again. But this was a Sanrio film, I guess we call it like a Japanese animation or anime movie from
Hello Kitty.
From the 1980s. Cute little unicorn who's banished by the gods and travels around and helps people. It's basically Quantum Leap. A fun one. It's kind of like, what, 3 little stories?
Yeah, pretty much.
And there's a sequel, which we also have, but I don't think I've ever seen it.
Yeah, so someday we'll watch that.
It's definitely like a darker 80s movie. Like some of the, the villains in it are probably a little bit scary by 90s standards. Not by 2000 standards, because kids are
resilient now.
It's a fun one. It's well animated. Like, music's memorable. It's not as saccharine as like some of the other childhood classics. A little bit bittersweet, but no, it's a solid one. I'd give it 8 out of 10.
This was my first time even hearing of Unico, because this was not a part of my childhood. The amount of Japanese animation that we enjoyed as kids, Ab and I, was My Neighbor Totoro. I'm seeing this from fresh eyes, adult eyes. I enjoyed it, but there were some points where I was just like, I'm confused. And as a kid, I would be like, I don't need an explanation. But as an adult, I need answers. I don't understand why this person is acting this way. It just wasn't explained well, I guess.
The bad guy?
Yeah, the bad guy.
He's a bad guy.
I didn't understand his
mission,
his motive. What was his motive?
Bad.
But that's not a good enough reason.
Yeah,
like,
he can.
What was his plan with Kitty Cat girl, Katie? With Katie,
get her.
With what? For what? Why? How?
Ceremony.
How? I didn't understand his plan. I enjoyed the movie though, still. I was able to really enjoy it. Sanrio is all about Hello Kitty and kawaii and really wanting to be super cute. I don't know. I wanted more substance with Unico, I guess. I think the lesson was really good because he was able to melt so many hardened hearts throughout the film, which I really, really enjoyed. So anyway, I would give it a 6.5 out of 10. Last one is Die Hard, but with a vengeance. And it's the 3rd in the series. I had never seen this one before, but I really like Die Hard, and I was told by my wonderful husband that I didn't actually need to see the second movie. I could just go right to Die Hard with a vengeance. I love that title. And as somebody who has not seen the second movie and has only seen 1 and 3, that is completely true. I really, really enjoyed this film. So it was like a buddy action film with Bruce Willis and Samuel L. Jackson. There was only one part in particular of the movie that, as a nurse, I raised my eyebrows. Because I know it's an action movie and you're supposed to suspend your disbelief, but there's one part, not only would he have not been able to continue doing the stunts after that point, I think he'd be dead. But that's a nurse watching an action movie and saying, hey, that's not reality.
Jeremy Irons?
Jeremy Irons, yes, the voice of Scar is in here, and he is just such a good bad guy. He really, really, truly is. I would give this movie an 8 out of 10. It was very, very good. I would love to see it again.
I don't know how true it is, but I had recently read that Die Hard 3 was originally supposed to be in the Lethal Weapon franchise, but for whatever reason they pivoted over. It worked, you know, just as well, if not better, in the Die Hard universe. Fantastic chemistry with Bruce Willis and Samuel L. Jackson, and yeah, Jeremy Irons is
a fantastic villain.
A classy guy.
Yeah.
The story's very solid. A lot of, you know, action and that, you know, some humor mixed into. Yeah, again, the favorite of the Die Hard series, I'd say. Yeah, I'd give
it over the first one too?
Yes.
Oh wow.
I would give it a 8.5 out of 10.
Wow. So we really hope that you guys enjoyed the start of this brand new vlog series. In the comments down below, tell us, out of the 15 movies, what maybe you've seen in the past. Do you agree with our ratings? Do you disagree? And out of the 15 movies, which is your favorite, or which is a movie that you would like to see? And if there's any favorite movies you think we should give a watch this month, let us know in the comments and we might give a few of them a look. I'm the musical nurse, and this is my husband William, and we'll see you guys real soon. Bye!